Welcome into Pioneer Basketball with Pioneer coach J.T. Burton. I'm Brian Staten. The Pioneer basketball team in the last two games that have rallied somewhat, especially against Mars Hill, another double-digit deficit where the Pioneers come from behind. Go back to the Queens contest, nearly a rally there. And that contest that comes up just a little bit short, win against Mars Hill and a win this past week against the Lenore Bears have the Pioneers riding high within reach of the number 5 or number 4 seed in the South Atlantic Conference Tournament. Hello again, everyone. Brian Staten, joined by Pioneer coach J.T. Burton. It has been a very interesting run since the last time we had a conversation. Even though I've been there watching it and seen it in person against Queens, I wouldn't have thought that the way we had played, we would have had and been in the conversation with the chance to come through with the win. I think it's a great testament to what your guys are going through right now, especially with the way you're playing.
We've been like this all year. It's kind of been up and down, but now they coming into their own. I mean, it's the time to do it because when we was at Queens, we got started off, it was fairly decent, but then they went on the run. But in the second half, we tried to make a run. We just fell a little short. Sean
Willett proves why he's a potential player of the year candidate in the South Atlantic Conference. Yet another double-double in that one. You go to Mars Hill, you take on the leading scorer in the league, and Jayshawn Brooks. Once again, this is the second time that this has happened. And the first half to where he just kind of ran the offense. He just kind of executed the offense. They got great scoring from guys who have been playing well. This is a Mars Hill team that has played well and has shot well, and they showed that in the first half.
They did. I mean, we did a really good job, especially the first half and throughout the game against Brooks. I mean, we just go into that game, saying that somebody else has got to beat us. I mean, it's a hard place to play, though. They've been playing. They've had some guys, like you said, to step up. But we was able to withstand their run. I mean, because we spotted them 12 points again, but we was able to win that game.
We're rewriting the record book at Tusculum for an amount of double-digit come-from-behind victories. You do get a double-digit win. You win at 81-73. It wasn't easy. You shoot well in the first half, but the problem was you're giving up second-chance opportunities, and you weren't getting yours that you're normally used to.
Yeah, I mean, the first half, we won in the halftime. We only had 2 offensive rebounds. I mean, but, again, as with the lineup, and guys are kind of like a days ago, they weren't crashing the boards, but we made a few adjustments coming out of halftime, and we was able to negate their offensive rebounds, and we get some ourselves.
Brooks, who didn't play hardly in the second half, did finish with 8 points. Second time this year that he hasn't finished the game against the Pioneers has combined for just 10 points as he finishes with 8 there. But you get 2 guys go over 20, and again, Caleb Hodnett is playing well, and I think he kind of was the catalyst to start that second half. You started hitting shots, and that was important, but he and Donaldson have kind of been the guys that we've talked about the most because they've come through, I think, at the most important times in games, and especially at Mars Hill.
Yeah, at Mars Hill, we needed both of them, especially with Caleb, because, we know we've made an adjustment on our defensive alignment and putting him in another position has kind of helped him. And he's been able to crash the boards, and not only crash the boards, is making outside shots. And when he's making outside shots, he's hard to handle.
I haven't said it enough this year, talked about it enough, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to talk about it as much. Not as great at the first half at the free throw line, but in the second half when you needed it, you go 9 of 12 at the stripe, and I think that had to be key in that game.
Yeah, it was. It was huge. I mean, guys stepped up, made free throws, and I told them, you make free throws, you stretch the game out, and that's what we done. We stepped up to the line, made free throws during clutch time.
All right, so the Pioneers on the road at Queens, on the road at Mars Hill, go 1-1 there, and then come home. And it's a kind of a turning point. You teeter or totter here, you're down at the bottom of the conference, or you get that teeter and you go to the top of the conference. And right now, I know you're feeling good. You go into the LR game. Here's a team that's come off a Queens win. Everybody's thinking, oh my goodness. We thought that maybe they could have been some of the best players, number one in the South Atlantic Conference. But then they go in the tank. And so many teams do that. You get that one elite win, and then they're just unable to find that magic. What was it about LR that came in that really scared you, because they're riding a 4-game winning streak knowing that they're one of the best teams in our league?
The way their guards shoot the ball. I mean, then they was getting some other guys that was stepping up. At this time of the year, you got to have other guys that, kind of fall into the role, and they was doing that. And they was scary because the way they shoot it, the way they play, they execute their offense. Coach Sullivan does a very good job with them, and we was just able to, withstand their run again and come away with the win.
Let's take a look at the highlights as the Lenore Bears, led by Everett Sullivan and his 2 great guards, Corey Thomas and Jabril Jallo, come to Pioneer Arena. One of our very best is Caleb Hodnett. I can't talk about the stretch that he's on. We're going to talk about it a lot more coming up, but he's just been able to get you guys off to really good starts the way he's playing.
You see that at the beginning of the game, we try to get him going early, with the ball, get him the ball inside, and then you see him stepping out, taking his time, looking at offense and making a three-point shot. And as I said, you get Caleb going early, he can make shots, and then right there you got Tariq being patient, getting to the rim, going off 2 feet. And then, I mean, one of the things that we've done a really good job with Don, driving the ball and dishing off to Caleb, is been very good, been better in the half-court offense.
All right, so you get off to the 11-3 start, and you see a big reason why. You're wanting to get your two guys that have been going, but then LR responded. What was their counter?
I mean, they settled in. I mean, they try to get the ball out. Transition, I mean, I know the first 6 points was in transition, I think is what it was, and we had to get back, and then they started making shots against our zone in the half court.
It's a Pioneer team that you got to come in, you got to rebound, you got to do those things. And it gets somebody like Bertrand Awana, R.J. Gunn. I think you even talked about how R.J. Gunn is a difference maker for them. What type of challenge did you face on the glass?
Well, I mean, we knew we was going to play small. We knew they had to have some big guys like Brandon Mitchell, Cameron King to step up and play. But the biggest one, as you see right there, is making a basket, is Jackie Davis. I mean, he done some really good. He didn't get a lot of rebounds, but he kept them getting rebounds, kept their bigs from rebounding the ball.
Good. Caleb Hodnett has just been a different player. You talked about he's a sponge. He soaks up anything that you tell him. Obviously, a lot of what he is doing is a product of him just staying with it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the biggest thing is trying to get Caleb some confidence and going early. I mean, sometimes he gets out of position, but he knows. I mean, when he makes mistakes, he's the first one to say, Coach, I'll make up for it, and he does.
All right, a first half that, again, a very tight contest. You didn't give up that double-digit lead. I think that was good to see, but we are at home, and it's away. It's just a product that I think of what you do. Big moments, big shots, and Donaldson has been able to do that here of late.
He has. We ran some UC. We ran a good set for him right there, and he came out and was able to make the shot. And then the biggest thing is, again, you see Adrian Cohen going down inside. I mean, it's him and Jackie Davis, guys like those guys is accepting their roles and being very productive when they're in.
And Cohen, again, is a guy that started the year, I think, figured it out here late, and you've relied on him. He's not necessarily a glue guy, but he's a guy that comes in and gives you some great moments in basketball games. Hodnett continues to be strong. Donaldson continues to force the issue to that guy that we've talked about, Caleb Hodnett, who just seems to be in the right place at the right time right now.
Yeah, he does. As you see him getting the offensive rebound and putback, and that's what I tell him. He's got to crash the boards. I mean, Caleb does a really good job, and he's gotten better defensively. And especially crashing offensive boards, that's where he's got to be big at.
Trenton Gibson coming in, Dylan Smith, these two guys, what they have been able to do, I think we need these guys to get going and be good. And Gibson has been good all year, and I think he did a great job just executing and running the offense.
Yeah, we got to have Trent on the court. I mean, whether he's scoring, I tell him, what is he doing? How's he impacting the game if he's not scoring the ball? And just by having his presence out there, he can post, he can play, several positions. So with that being said, when he's out there, it opens up for a lot of other people.
Moving the ball all around. The way this game went, just back and forth, nobody had more than, an 8-point lead throughout the entire contest, right from the very beginning of the contest. And Thomas hitting big shots. This is a team, they make big shots. They score a lot more points than this, but this just became into, if you remember the days, Pioneer fans, Greg Nybert at Presbyterian, Jim Boone at Tusculum, these defensive-minded coaches, you guys got into one of these great all-time classics.
Yeah, and that's what we try to turn it into, a half-court game, a defense to grind you out type game, and that's what we've done. And that's why, I think we grew as a team when we done that, because we've been in these type games all year. As you see Caleb Hodnett driving the ball from the to the basket, and when you're doing things like that and you've been in those situations before, it always helps.
It's not as if you've got this great veteran team, but you do, in a way now, because they've been in the system all year. I think that's how coaches look at it. Now you finally you want guys who are doing what you want them to do at the right time of the year, which is this time. And that's obviously what Hodnett is doing. You see these 5 guys. They seem to be the same guys that are still on the floor, and those are the guys that are doing what needs to be done.
Yes, I mean, we didn't start out this way. We started bringing Dylan Smith off the bench, trying to get some bench scoring, and he's done a very good job accepting his role. But at the end of the game, you go 4 guards with Caleb Hodnett, and then it's like I said, Trent Gibson can play, 1 through 4. So with that being said, we're able to, you'll see Dylan make a big, huge shot right here to, kind of stretch the game out a little bit.
That is the difference, too.
Yes.
His shooting percentage probably isn't great, but what you are getting out of it is right time, right location when he's making shots. All right, interesting end to the game. I will say this probably gave you a few more gray hairs. And an interesting call here right out of this inbound play. Obviously up 3, so you're up 1 with 10 seconds, and I believe you're going to get one of those double dribble calls, which is going to give LR another chance to get a great opportunity. This is probably not how you drew it up.
No, it's not how we drew it up. I mean, like I said, right here, I think the ref had a bad angle. I mean, I'm not seeing it. He called it, and there's nothing you could do about it. The guy was trying to foul. But right here, we stayed the course after the timeout. Don had turned the ball over. But, I told him we still got to lead. We just got to get the ball back. And you see where he makes the play right here to smack it off the guy's leg to get the ball back in Tariq hands.
LR had 3 team fouls with 3 seconds left, or maybe it was even 2. Again, a game that I missed. Yes, coach is giving me a hard time about it. They were able to get us into the bonus with the amount of fouls that they called, but Donovan Donaldson has to go to the free throw line. This hasn't been our bread and butter, Coach. Are you sweating bullets right now?
No, because, everybody talked. That kind of played into our favor as far as the fouls was concerned because, we had to make foul shots. If we would have been in a bonus, it had been a lot of pressure on our kids to make those shots. Well, we was up by 1, and the way they had the foul kind of ran the clock down. And you see what Don made 1, and then I told him to miss the other one because they had 0.3 seconds left to go, and it's hard to get a shot off like that.
Pioneers win. They knock off the Lenoir-Rhyne Bears, get the season sweep. It was a great game in Hickory. It was a better game here at Pioneer Arena. Pioneers find themselves just a game back right now of that 5th spot in the South Atlantic Conference as they get that victory, as you saw. And again, it wasn't easy, but Caleb Hodnett, another 21-point game. He's rebounding the basketball. Donovan Donaldson is scoring when needed, 12 points for him. Dylan Smith is hitting the big threes when needed, and Tariq Jenkins is driving to the bucket. And, oh, by the way, Mr. Glue himself, Mr. Gibson, is just executing, defending, and just running the offense.
Yeah, they are. I mean, all of them are coming together. That's why I told them the recipe to be a successful team, everybody's got to accept their roles. And I think these guys have done it up to this point.
And again, there's guys on this team that are coming in and giving some great minutes. Cam King, Brandon Mitchell, we're not going to forget them. Austin Hall, we've got Cohen that is coming in. All right, this is a good program right now that is maybe peaking, which is what we'll talk about at the right time when we come back right after this. This is Pioneer Basketball with Pioneer coach JT Burton.
Family.
Food's here!
What's it mean to you?
We got lunch.
To us, it means the people you care about, look out for, and yeah, love. Even if you'd never let them hear you say it.
Hey, you're eating hummus?
What's wrong with hummus?
Here at Ingalls, we have everything you need to gather around the table and give each other a hard time. Because that's what families do. Ingalls. All the ingredients for family.
Pioneers have won 2 straight. They have evened the record, 12-12 overall, 8-8 in the league, and it's a Pioneer basketball team that faces an extremely big week. Why? It's Carson Newman. We don't need to say any more outside of that. And the extremely long road trip to Coker in Hartsville, South Carolina. The final 2 road games of the season for the Pioneers in the regular season. Then we'll see what happens as what happens. 4 games left. Obviously, you want to take each game 1 game at a time, and that 1 game that's next is Carson Newman. You want to take care of your own. You want to take care of the teams that are around you, right? They
Yes.
sit just below you in the league, and you know the coach down at the other end is down there saying, we got to knock this one off and take care of our home here at Hope Fieldhouse. How crucial is the game midweek?
It's huge because, like you said, if we're a game behind Lenoir-Rhyne in fifth place, and you're fighting for that possibly fourth place spot to host the game, and we got to go. Going there is going to be huge because both teams. It don't matter the record when you got a rival like this that's been going on this long, and they didn't. We was fortunate enough to come away with a win here. You can best believe they're going to be ready to go come Wednesday night.
All right, and then Coker probably didn't give their best showing when they visited here. At their place, they're just a different team, and the reason is because it feels like you're in about a different international calling zone when you get there. Beautiful place, beautiful campus, love going. Just don't always like the way we play. It'll be your first encounter there, but what has to be the mindset this week? outside of it being Carson Newman and on the road to Coker, what has to be the mindset for your basketball team?
Finish. You got to finish. I mean, the biggest thing is you got to stay focused, because it's easy now at this time of the season. It's that at the end, guys kind of taper off. They get kind of tired, but you can't. This is where you do all that hard work for. You can't. We don't have time for that. And you know, we still keep our same schedule, same regimen every single day. And guys, and you know, that's going to be our focus. They have to stay focused, and they have to stay the course the whole time.
All right, Caleb Hodnett become the second Conference Player of the Week for the Pioneers. When Donovan did it, it was the first time in 8 years, so now we've got 2 in about 3 weeks. But obviously, he's growing within what you want him to do. I think when we talked about him, and I thought he'll be a guy that you'll need to rely on. I think you looked at me like I was crazy. But he continued to stay the course. He continued to ask you questions, and I think we're seeing the fruit of his labor right now.
When I first got this job, I told my assistants when we were seeing him play, because I seen how athletic he was, the way we like to play our zone, I knew he would be successful in our in my system. And it kind of took a little longer than what I wanted, but he's kind of bought in. I mean, the biggest thing is he told me, Coach, I put the video game up. And that's always a plus. When kids come back and tell you that, that's always big. And he showed it these last couple games.
The AstroTurf South Atlantic Conference Player of the Week this week is Caleb Hodnett, averaging that double-double for the Pioneers, over 20 points per contest as well. Hey, big week. We'll see you down the road at that place, okay?
I'll see you down there.
He's Pioneer coach JT Burton. Thanks to everybody behind the scenes here at the Pioneer Sports Network, Nick Forsberg, Tom Donnelly, and Jim Miller. Don't forget, you can tune in. You can watch the games this week from the visiting websites at Carson Newman and also at Coker, and the Pioneer Sports Network will be there as well. Just visit our website at TusculumPioneers.com. Click Listen Live at Carson Newman or at Coker. You'll get us. We'll be there. Maybe I'll be there. I might show up. He's the coach, JT Burton. I'm Brian State. Until next week, go Pioneers.